Breaking news edition of Seattle Seahawks Today as safety Jamal Adams has been ruled out for next week's Week 1 contest against the Los Angeles Rams. And corner Devon Witherspoon has been told by Pete Carroll he's unlikely to play in that game as well. Carroll, in an interview with KJR, the radio station in Seattle this morning, delivered that news about these two players unlikely to play in that first game. And, you know, I'll say this, it's not terribly surprising to see the news, but it is unfortunate that the Seahawks have these hits already to the secondary. Let's start with Jamal Adams. And remember, he's recovering from that torn quad that he suffered in Week 1 about a year ago this time against the Denver Broncos. And the update that we heard from Jamal Adams a couple weeks ago was that he was cleared to make his return to come back, but they were going to ease him into things, right? That his first practice activities would be going through walkthroughs and eventually try to get him to a playing level. Now, think about this. Because they didn't put him on the PUP list, that means he remains eligible to play within the first 4 games. So, although he's not playing this week, we could still see him very soon, maybe Week 2, maybe Week 3. I would think that the Seahawks feel confident that he is going to come back soon if they didn't put him on PUP. Didn't practice at all this week, but is eligible to make that return. So the PUP list is not going to be a thing that holds him back. That also means that the Seahawks, at least at the moment, are going to roll with 3 corners at this point in time. And we'll get to that depth chart coming up later, or three safeties, rather. At this point in time. We'll show that depth chart coming up, but that's the situation, at least for the safety position right now. Meanwhile, with Devon Witherspoon, with the hamstring injury, this has been something he's been dealing with since training camp, essentially, and has lingered on. We didn't see Devon Witherspoon, in the preseason, and this has been an ongoing issue for him that's going to likely keep him out, and we'll see how long this goes. Pete Carroll said this in that interview with KJR Radio this morning. It's going to be a race to get him for the opener. Might not get that. So they're doing everything they can. They're trying, but it seems unlikely. The jury's out that Devon Witherspoon will play. Now, I'll say this. This is why you drafted so much the last couple of years in the secondary, and why you've spent a lot of money in this secondary as well. When you bought guys like Julian Love, and when you drafted Witherspoon with that number 5 pick, but not just Witherspoon. Think about, Rick Woolen last year, Kobe Bryant last year, Trey Brown a couple years ago. You've invested in this secondary to be able to deal with these circumstances. And from what we've seen of these other guys, and we'll dive into all that here in just a second, there's reason to be confident in the other guys stepping into these roles, knowing that Witherspoon and Jamal Adams aren't there. I feel pretty good about those other options that you have to get the job done. Injuries are going to happen, but the Seahawks have so much depth that things should be okay for now. I think this team's going to be just fine to get through these circumstances. It's the nature of the beast when it comes to the National Football League. I think everything's going to be okay. What's your concern level? I'm not very concerned, honestly. I think that is it a big deal? Absolutely it is. But because of the other players and the timelines of Jamal Adams getting close, Witherspoon, they're working towards it. My concern is not high. Give me your concern level in the comment section. Let me know. Folks, this is why you subscribe to Seahawks Today. We bring you daily Seattle Seahawks videos here on the channel. And when you have injuries, trades, free agent signings, whatever it may be, we're going to tell you about it here on Seahawks Today each and every day. And we got some exciting stuff coming up this season, not just our live shows that we do on Wednesdays, but watch parties for every game as well. And we are closing in on 40,000 subscribers on Seahawks Today. Will this be the video that gets us to 40,000 subscribers? I want this to be the one. 12s, I'm calling you out. 124. Get your friends, your relatives, everybody together and get them to subscribe to Seahawks Today. And let's reach 40,000 subscribers this weekend. Not waiting a day more. Let's get the job done right now. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Let's get to the depth chart. Here's what I'm talking about as far as the Seahawks go of next man up mentality, right? Mike Jackson is going to be the starting outside corner. He earned that job. I know that the preseason he struggled a bit, but what he did in training camp, what he did in the offseason program, he showed why he deserves to be a starting outside corner for this team. So you got Mike Jackson there. Devon Witherspoon was supposed to be your starting nickel back. Good news, though, Kobe Bryant played a lot of games in nickel last year, led the Seahawks in forced fumbles. He's going to step in that role just fine there. Rick Wallen, of course, he's going to be awesome. I expect a fantastic year. So you have options. And, Caillou Blue Kelly, who you brought in from the Ravens, fifth-round pick, big opportunity for him to potentially get some playing time now. And maybe you call Artie Burns back up again, potentially. So there are guys to get through this circumstance if Devon Witherspoon's not going to be quite ready to go. Meanwhile, the safety position, with no Jamal Adams there, this is why you paid Julian Love. I think the thought was when the Seahawks brought in Julian Love that, hey, more than likely Jamal Adams is going to miss some time. Just based on his injury history, even if he would have recovered on time, something's probably going to come up. And the Seahawks were already planning to do some three-high safety techniques and different things. So Julian Love is the right man for the job. I don't think they'll miss a beat with Jamal Adams not being out there because they've been preparing for this all offseason for Julian Love to be able to step into that role. My only concern is as I look at the schedule for the Seahawks going forward, it's not till a while from now. I think you're going to be able to get through these first few games. Let's say that, the worst case scenario here, if it goes on longer than any of us expect on Jamal Adams and Devon Witherspoon and more injury stack up, you can work through the next few weeks. It doesn't really get concerning till you get all the way to October 15th against the Cincinnati Bengals and their outstanding receiving core. We know about Joe Burrow under center, but when you talk about having to defend Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and those guys, then that becomes difficult. That becomes concerning. You can get through these next few weeks with the guys that you have. Julian Love signed a 2-year, $12 million contract this offseason, previously with the New York Football Giants from 2019 to 2022. And we talk about that experience he brings to the table. Started 16 games last year for New York. So this guy, he's been there, done that. And the statistics are pretty strong for Julian Love as well. This is a guy that last year had the best season of his career so far. He's just starting to enter his prime. 124 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. Julian Love was very solid in 2022 and expect that to carry over here with the Seahawks. Meanwhile, Trey Brown. We have not seen a lot of Trey Brown in the regular season over the last couple of years. Missed most of last year with a knee injury as he enters his 3rd year with the Seahawks. Remember, he started some as a rookie, his first season out of Oklahoma, and he looked solid in the games that he played that rookie season, but we didn't really see him a whole lot since. And then in this preseason, got a lot of snaps at outside corner, and he held his own and did an incredible job. I was very impressed with Trey Brown. He looked just as good at outside corner as any other corner out there. So whether they do some shifting around if he slides in at nickel because maybe you need Kobe Bryant to go back and play some safety, there are plenty of options. Next man up, Seahawks, I think, are going to be okay for now. Who will step up for the Seahawks defense? I've given you 2 names to watch for, Julian Love and Trey Brown. I feel very confident about those 2 guys. Who do you think is going to step up and get the job done? Name them. Drop the names in the comments of a player or 2 who you think is going to step up for the Seahawks defense. Head over to our Raiders channel, the Raiders Report with my guy, Mitchell Renz. I know he's a Raider, but he's a buddy. He is getting a Raiders tattoo on his leg live right now. They're also going to do a Madden sim today of the Raiders and Broncos, our old friend, of course, over there. Check that out. It is highly entertaining. He and Jeremy Chuggs, another friend of the show, they're having an entertaining time today. And tell them that Seahawks Today sent you and show some love to those guys and all the work that they're doing, their family here at Chat Sports. And certainly it's going to be entertaining all day long. Go check that out if you get a chance. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Help us reach that next milestone, 40,000 subscribers. I want to get there today, no later. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.